You are now tuned into the Chronicles of Guero Fantasma.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast. All right, let's see if this even... Welcome to the podcast. Sounds good. Sounds pretty good. Dude, it's been a long time. I have an episode. Yeah, welcome to the podcast. There's so many things I wanted to talk about, so I figured just set it up. Got a little weekend away. I'm here at a friend's house. Watching their dogs. So there's dogs running around. You're gonna hear little feet. And I got anime going on right now. Just to have something playing. But yes, Chronicles of Guero Fantasma, dude. I'm trying to get these going. I am very horrible at it. I got a new phone, so I am looking to switch everything over. Hopefully gonna do some more editing. I did pay for some more subscriptions. It's been a while since I had it had been so long, so all of my editing programs expired, so I renewed them because I was like, okay, I got to dive back in. We're going to dedicate, to doing this, making sure that things get done here. So I got the podcast, and I was having a lot of issues with my other setup. And this is the little setup that I had before. And it's a 2-man. Whoa. She wanted the 2-man. So we got the 2-man going right here. And it's a 1-man right now. But she's going to think there's 2-man here. No, there's two, enough for two, mics. So that's basically the big one. The other one I have is 4, but it doesn't work with Windows 10, I think, or whatever. So, anyways, we're just going to keep it going. So, I wanted to talk about Peptides. I'm an affiliate for Zen Aminos. Go check them out. They have a bunch of different blends. They got a superhuman blend right now that I'm looking to look into. It's got a lot of basic, more basic, different compounds that, energy, everything. This dude that I know that's also an affiliate for the company, he said, he tried it before a workout and it's amazing. So I'm looking to probably get some and then try it out soon. But right now, I just wanted to kind of talk about the stuff that I'm doing, where I've been. And I'm hoping to keep this short, maybe 25, 30 minutes. So we're feeling pretty good. I went from 265-ish, 260 to now 220. So I've lost a good amount of weight, and that was with obviously also the help of peptides. Now, I've been posting a lot of videos on TikTok, but man, they do not like you to mention this kind of stuff, which is wild to me. Now, I'm going to try to be as open as I can because, I don't know if the same rules apply over here, but we're going to just kind of see how far we can go. I'm going to try to use some keywords because I don't want, I'm really going to try my best to avoid being, targeted. But, yeah, so I was taking R3, if you know what that is. Ratatouille is another name that they use, and it's because you literally cannot say the name, which is weird. But I did that for a while, and that helped. I started very, very low and titrated up, and then I took a break when I went on a trip to Hawaii because I was like, I just don't want to deal with traveling with this stuff. So I made it to where that cycle would end, and then I took like a 4-week break, a month, and then I was like, okay, I want to do it again. So I did it again, and I lost like another 10 pounds in the second run. So I think I ended up like at 230 right before that trip. But also that first time, like the suppressions was crazy for me in a short, like it was maybe a was a couple months that was like, dude, this is kind of wild, which I don't know how anyone deals with it when it's worse. Cause I heard like some of the other ones, not Ratatouille, but the first gen ones, the first gen and the second gen, Ratatouille's the third, those like suppression was crazy, which is also why bodybuilders are preferring this newer one. They're going to come out with something new after this. I think they already have, but the suppression, the hunger suppression, it gives you control. I would describe it as control. The suppression though, for a little bit, it was a lot. And I don't know what it was during that period of time. I think it was maybe my body adjusting, but it was a lot. And the thing is, I lost quite a bit of weight very fast. And I was like, dude, like my body hadn't really adjusted. It was hard for me to eat for a little bit of time. And the nausea was there. But I mean, if you don't eat, for me, I would always get nauseated. So it was that. And then I'm still like always drinking coffee. So more than likely that too contributed. A bunch of coffee, no food. Something too, I think I was trying to drink still then alcohol. And, this is something I definitely wanted to share, because if anybody's dealing with that, and you don't think like, you're like, nah, dude, drinking's cool, like whatever, right? You kind of, if you're in it and you like it, it's kind of hard to be like, that's the problem. A lot of people were like, dude, you should quit drinking or like stop drinking as much. And I was like, nah, dude, we're good. So I truly believe that you have to come to terms with it, which, to be honest, I never did. I was like, nah, I'm good. But when I got on this journey, and it gives you control over cravings and whatnot, alcohol was a big one for me. And it was tons of carbs, tons of calories. And eventually I was just like, I just didn't care for it, which is strange. And if you would have told me before, like, dude, because I heard about drugs that they're like, oh, this will like make you not want it. And I'm like, why would anyone go? Drinking's fun, you know what I mean? So, but going down this path, it was just like, it kind of like slowly warmed me up to the idea. And then I was just like, well, this is kind of just what it is now. Like the craving for alcohol just subsided completely, I would say. I could still do it if I want to, and like yesterday I had like 3 beers and I was like, I'm good. But the way I would describe it too is like when you're drinking, for me before, I was just like, you start and you just kind of want to keep going. It even like kicks on something in me. This is how I am, where I'm like, oh dude, like I'm feeling good. Let's keep it going. Imagine how much better I would feel. So, but now it's like, it's not like that at all. Like it's really, and I think it's just kind of shifted. They say it rewires your brain, right? I don't like, that's very descriptive and very specific to where I'm like, but to be honest, like I just don't view it the same. Now I am off of it now, but it's only been like a couple days. So I'm curious to see. I want to wait like a month, maybe 2 months. We'll see. And just kind of see how I view it and see if I still have the same view of it, the cravings and whatnot. I've really adjusted to the amount that I'm eating now, and it's perfectly fine. It's perfect. It's the amount of protein I need. There's really no extra, this or that. If I want something, I can have it. But, a lot of times I'm just like, if I can curve the craving, I'm good. Like I don't want it. But alcohol, like I'll drink a couple beers and then honestly, it starts to gross me out. Where I'm just like, I don't feel like drinking anymore. And that's not something that you would ever hear out of my mouth before, or just not something that I ever thought or felt like. So that's been that's probably been the biggest help for me personally. Now, if you're dealing with some of those things and it's something you want to look into and curious about, I would say. But I don't feel like enough people have talked about this, because I know for a fact, especially if you're in the fitness space or you work out, drinking's just not something you normally do a lot, obviously. And then the people that are full on, drinkers that don't care about fitness, they're not looking to stop, which I get it, right? Whatever. But me kind of being in the middle of both, it was kind of like I like drinking, but then I like working out. And I've always done both together. Like, I'm going to drink, and then tomorrow, no matter how I feel, I'm going to go hit the gym. I'm going to hit the sauna, sweat it out, and then we keep going, which is a crazy way to live, but welcome to my life. No, this is just something that I dealt with. Like I said, I wanted to talk about it because I don't feel like enough people have, and I don't feel like enough people, I just think I'm a rare breed, right? And I don't mean that in a cool way. I mean that as like, what the heck, dude? What were you doing? What are you doing? So I do feel like it's helped me with that. And that's just, the tip of the iceberg as far as peptides, Ratatouille, RT3. And it works off 3 different mechanisms. It works off the GIP, the GLP, and then the glucagon receptor. But I also feel, because obviously alcohol's more or less out of the diet completely, like I said, it's once every 2-3 weeks, and it's just 2-3 beers. But I feel like nutrition partitioning is just completely different. Like I feel my body actually using the calories that I'm taking in for building muscle now. My muscles, I do feel, are more defined, obviously, because I've lost weight, and you see them more. But I just feel like the body's like, when I eat protein and stuff, I feel like, good. I feel like my muscles are full. And carbs, I'm taking in carbs if I want. Like, it's kind of just as it comes. I'll do rice. I still don't do like a lot of sugar. I never really have, besides beer. But just straight sugar, yeah. I mean, yes, I guess that's just like a craving. But I'm staying away from a lot of different processed things just because, honestly, my diet's never been horrible unless I do drink, and then it's like, everything goes out the window. So that's just been a huge change for me. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of stick with it and just kind of see where it goes. Like I said, I'm taking a break now, so I'm curious to see how my brain has adjusted and how much it's changed with view to these things and cravings and everything. Because a lot of people are like, well, what about after you get off? Does it like come back full force or even worse? And I'm like, I don't really know. That month I did take off, I didn't really feel that, but I was able to eat. Like I was able to work back up an appetite again that was pretty intense, or not intense, but it was just normal because I was used to it being like little to nothing for that short period of time at the very end of that last cycle of Ratatouille. So, yeah, I'm just curious to see. Right now, I'm also now diving into a couple different ones. So I'm also trying out tesamorelin, which raises your natural growth hormone levels. Like it goes with your GH pulses, and it just kind of raises it a little bit more. I did check my growth hormone and my IGF-1 levels right before I started this because I did want a good baseline to figure out, what it was normally, and then what it looks like during, and then what it looks like after. So I would highly suggest, honestly, anything that you're doing new, get blood work, because that's going to really show some of your weak points and the things that you really need to work on. Now, can these peptides help you personally? It all depends on what you're dealing with, where you're at, baseline, like your baseline, where you're at, and what these peptides do specifically, and how you can cater to what you learn about them to you and what you're lacking. So I'm always going to preach blood work, and I've been doing quite a bit of blood work. I'm doing like maybe 3 to 4 full panels a year, and that's pretty good. 3 to 4 panels a year of like the extensives. And then the personalized ones, like this one, the growth hormone, the IGF-1, I just did it separately because, and then the next time I'm going to run everything, I'm also going to include that again. So to just kind of stay on top of that. But tesamorelin, IGF-1, LR3, I'm running those 2, and I'm slowly starting at a lower dose and then titrating up. And honestly, the pumps with IGF-1, LR3 are crazy. Now, there's risks with all of these when it comes to, your body regenerating, and then like the BPC 157 and the TB 500. Those obviously, they talk about the risk of like cancer and stuff. They could possibly, if you have a pre-existing, if you have pre-existing risk for that, maybe you have elevated levels of whatever. I'll be honest, I did blood work, but I don't know the specifics when it comes to which markers you need to look for. Quick ChatGPT conversation can maybe help you learn some of that. That's what I'm doing here with most things, but I'm also doing extra research so I can make sure that I'm staying on top of everything. So specifically, I would suggest also to, getting a lot of these different blood panels, cancer screenings, anything you need to do to figure out if you are in that category. And if you are, then a lot of these things are going to be way riskier for you, and I would suggest maybe not even doing them. But if you're in a good place and you think that they can benefit you specifically, then you can make that decision for yourself. Like I said, this is what I've been doing, and I feel pretty good. I'm also now diving into, I was doing the BPC 157 and TB 500, and that helped me quite a bit with inflammation. But I came across a newer one pretty recently called ARA 290, and that one has helped people with different neuropathy issues, like your nerves and whatnot. If you have a lot of issue with your nerves, which I believe I do, and I don't know really where that's from, but when I went to the doctor recently, they said I had intercostal neuralgia, which is like inflammation of nerves in your chest. So that in itself, I was like, dude, this might actually be something worth trying. So I just started that. I'm on the first week, and I kind of created my catered dosing depending on a lot of the research that I found and what I saw. And I started obviously lower, and I'm going to titrate up and then just make sure there's no symptoms, no side effects. And then, like I said, too, just extensive blood work. Continue to monitor your levels of everything. Make sure you're in good range. I've improved like literally in everything. I mean, losing 40 pounds, more or less, 35, 40 pounds in, I would say 6 to 8 months. My levels have improved everywhere. There's been progress. And that's what I would suggest too. Like, you don't want to pile on new compounds when a lot of your issues are, could be from weight gain. If you're already unhealthy, tossing a bunch of compounds on top because you're trying to build muscle, like test, like even like your harder compounds, testosterone, anavar, if you're throwing like legit steroids on top of somebody who's already overweight, dude, now you're increasing your blood pressure. You're going to have a lot more problems. So I do have an interest of maybe eventually doing, TRT, but I wanted to get myself to a healthier baseline and just feel good, and then I would look into that. So that's really what the main goal is. And I'll be honest, like, peptides have helped me start that journey, and I really do feel like I'm in a good place right now because of everything that I've been doing. And I just have like a better idea of my health, and it's really helped me just kind of understand, like, once you start doing a lot of blood work, you can kind of figure out why you're where you're at. You see your diet change, you see things improve. So now you can make the distinction and the connection between why, the things that you've changed, the improvements you made, and you kind of make the correlation for yourself of those improvements. So I do think, it's just, man, like it's just eye-opening, and it's such a huge thing that I don't think people preach enough, even as like doctors and whatnot. I hate that you can't really be open and honest with most of them. I really need to find one. If you know any in San Antonio area that are like, I want one that I can be open and honest with. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, but there's so many that are just like, oh no, I'm not dealing with you if you're doing that. It's like, it blows my mind, because you can have like dudes that recreationally do hard drugs, party drugs, like we can name a few, which is crazy, but like cocaine, Molly, like these guys are doing recreational party drugs, and they go to the doctor and they're like, yeah, I do. Like, you're supposed to tell them, right? They do. Yeah, maybe they do. They're like, yeah, I do this. And the doctor's probably going to even give them more attention and be like, man, well, we really need to make sure that this, and that. You know, the energy that the doctor gives whenever they're like, hey, I do this. The doctor's like, man, we gotta make sure you're all right. But I think it's whenever you're doing something that is like, look, I'm trying to improve my health, and it's an alternative route. It's definitely something that it's just different. But they're known compounds that some of them were in rotation before with doctors, and then now the doctors have cut them out because the FDA no longer approves them. Now, why is that? If you go back and look at a lot of the different reasons, there is reasons for everything. And sometimes it's literally just because the companies that were providing these drugs or creating these peptides or whatnot, that you have to pay in order to keep the FDA to approve them. And if they say, no, I'm not going to do it anymore, we found maybe something else a little bit better, whatever the reason is, there's always a different reason. Sometimes they're like, we don't really see this in a benefit to keep it FDA approved, so they just stop. And it's no longer FDA approved. It's not necessarily because something bad happened and someone got really sick and, oh my gosh, it started making a ton of people, giving them issues. Which, to be honest, is that's what they I can't think of the word, suggest, or they'll, lead you to believe. They'll be like, oh, well, that's no longer FDA approved. And you're like, but did you look up why? Did you figure out why? So it's definitely just a huge, massive money grab, and we just have to be careful. The best thing is to just do your research, stay, in the knowing, understand why some of these doctors may have said or may push you away from you using these things. Also, too, like the peptides and stuff, you're taking an alternative route that is almost challenging the doctor and their suggestions and their prescriptions and their practice. So I kind of get it. I get the pushback of like them being like, well, we don't, oh, what? It's like, if I had to make an example, I would say it's like a guy who's having issues with his car, takes it to the mechanic, and he's like, hey, look, this is my car, it's got this. And then the mechanic's going to be like, okay, let me take a look at it, let me try to figure it out. And then the guy who owns the car is like, well, but I also think it's this, and that, so I'm going to start doing this, and that to try to fix it. And then the guy's going to be like, well, why did you even bring your car here? It's a close example, but it's also very different because without the help of the doctor, there's a lot of further testing, you could do blood work, but you can't like do cancer screenings. There's stuff that you can't do unless the doctor is involved. And they do that, I think. I mean, this is conspiracy theory, George, but I think they do that to kind of keep you at, their mercy. And it's cool, it's fine, whatever. If we're going to work together on me, which also kind of sucks because I got to get this guy involved who's going to tell me yes or no, basically, because of what he thinks and what he's learned. But, I've also seen some information that I'm curious about. The doctor should be willing to hear you out and also look up research. Look, buddy, I understand you're only here 8 to 5, whatever. But your practice and your first priority should be the patient, and you trying to help the patient, and you doing your best to make them comfortable with things, understand things. And then if they have suggestions, you need to hear them out. That's part of your job, buddy. Okay? I know it's 8 to 5. After this, you're not going to look into what I'm letting you know that I found, because it may not be able to benefit you or your practice. But man, once I find a doctor who's really willing, like that's such an amazing thing, because those are the people that went into that practice because they sincerely want to help people figure out health problems and then help more people. A lot of these things can be seen as like anecdotal data, like this person, it helped them because they were curious about this. The doctor was involved. And then now the doctor's further patients can also benefit from that one experience, you know? So I don't know. I just think I get so frustrated with Big Pharma, but it is what it is. I'm excited that I've found peptides, and I'm going to keep doing research on them and doing everything that I can in my power to keep myself healthy and, you know, continue to search, you know, do blood work and make sure that everything is good, continue the research. And also I do want to share this. YouTube is probably, hopefully no issues, but this is probably the one platform that hopefully I'll be able to just put the information out there. I've seen a lot of stuff on YouTube, you know, obviously censorship, whatever, if it's for the greater good and it's really, you know, protecting whatever, I guess, but who decides that? You know, hopefully the people that aren't profiting off one side or the other. You know, free speech, right? Whatever. But I'm hoping, you know, we're just going to continue this journey. This is just a podcast. I wanted to jump on here. I am not a doctor. I should have started with that. I'm actually probably going to throw this piece in the front. I am not a doctor. This is not health advice. You know, ask your doctor. Hopefully you have a good one, and, you know, hopefully they can help you. But this is just kind of my experience. This is for entertainment purposes only. This is for research purposes only. So, but yeah. Anyways, if you are interested in peptides for research purposes only, for your lab rat, not for you, zenaminos.is, Redefine Genetics at checkout. This is going to sound like this is the only reason why. Well, I mean, listen, I have benefited. If you feel like you can possibly benefit from it and you're curious, dive in, check it out. zenaminos.is, Redefine Genetics at checkout. Also, Mile High Compounds. I'm going to try to put some links in the show notes or whatever and just try to, you know, but I do get a little kickback. Honestly, store credit on one of them, but I'm literally going to use it so I can buy more for myself because, damn it, it helps. I need it, and my lab rat is dying. He's dying slowly, and this is helping him die a little slower. So, thank you guys for tuning in this podcast. I'm really hoping everything goes good with it. We're going to edit it nice and quick, toss it up. I'm not going to have too many funny screen stuff. To me, this is a little bit more just going into depth, and, you know, hopefully this can help some people. So follow the channel, guys. Like the video if you like the video. Follow me on TikTok, Redefine Genetics. On Instagram, _Redefine Genetics. And yeah, just anywhere else. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. And I hope you guys look to getting happy, healthy, and yeah, anyways. All right. Love you guys. Goodbye.